to episode 4 of The Weird Man. In this episode, I want to talk about integrating our experience of the world through language. From episode 3 on movement, we saw that we experience the world in two places at the same time. Firstly, where I or you am, at our eyes or ears or skin. And secondly, we experience the world somewhere else, over there. These two places are known as here, because I am always here, and out there, because everything else not of me is always out there. All this comes down to that our lived experience is of something showing up at places we call sensory organs: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. And when we ask where that is, an experience of our mind shows up, and we might say, here. The experience shows up as a function of the movement of our attention, a movement to where and how we are sensing. You might be beginning to see that our sense is not passive. Sensation is not just coming to us. We are not just receiving it. We are being provoked to the experience by the movement of our attention. We might even define sensation as the provocateur of attention, while at the same time we can define attention as the provocateur of sensation. Vice versa, when we look at our lived experience as in what of the world is showing up for us at any time, we can see that sensation is a veil to attention and attention is a veil to sensation. We don't experience the veil. Later on, we might look back and say, oh, I didn't experience that initially, and now I see it must have been there all along. One special experience associated with both I, which is here, and there, is the movement of the body. I experience that the parts of my body, even my whole body, is showing up as movement, including being still and moving in many varied ways. My experience of moving is that simultaneously my body and even I shows up differently, and the world shows up differently, as a change of here and a change in the experience of the world, both here and somewhere else. My lived experience is an experience of my moving about, plus the changes that the movement of the body makes of the showing of the event, the world. Movement shows up and all the events show up together. Movement shows up and the world shows up. You might take a look at this and make a comment about how your lived experience is happening. There's an exercise at the end of the episode to help you. My motion then gives me my lived experience of a world, yet I still find myself in an experience of our world happening in two places, or rather my world happening in two places, here and out there, which brings me to something very special we can do. It relates to attention. My experience of I occurs when I bring my attention to my awarenesses of a set of sensations, emotions, and motions that seem to work dynamically, consistently, even harmoniously, repetitively, and persistently over time. We have already spent time looking at how these are all codes that are worked onto the coded brain templates and even fill in the gaps of sensation or perception to make up the world. And so we can conclude that I is made up too. If I equals here, but only shows up when my attention is turning to where it is that I am asking where I is, I'll say that again. If I equals here, but only shows up when my attention is turning to where it is that I am asking where I is, you can begin to see that it is a circular and self-reinforcing process of self-identification with seemingly no way out. The effect of experiencing something in two places is an exercise in awareness of the lived experience from I. Once we have looked and experimented with bringing our awareness to our lived experience, shorn of all abstracted knowledge and interpretations and stories about the experience, we will be able to see something special about ourselves. The effect of experiencing the world in two places collapses when we move our attention fully to something there. You need to try this out. When you move your attention fully and completely to something out there, you will find that you are experiencing yourself where that thing there is. your experience of the senses and your experience of that thing there is now completely one thing. Now, at this point, you might see that makes a nonsense of how we talk about our lived experience as if here and there. If I'm always here and everything else is always out there, I can't be out there like in two places at the same time. Indeed, in an attempt to bring language to bear more clearly on the experience, Werner Erhard defined the phrase out here to describe the state of complete and full attention with the other. Out here, all the lived experiences that our ears, eyes, mouth, nose, skin and motions that we might correlate with I now exists with the showing of the event, until afterwards, when we revert to paying attention to the distinction between our habitual experiences and the non-habitual experiences, we may notice that in those moments of living out here, I, as a set of sensations, emotions and motions, had faded considerably from the field. That is a serious lot to contend with. However, getting this ability of experiencing life out here is a foundation skill of listening, leadership, parenting, and other adult relationships. Go out and about until next week, moving your attention fully and completely to the other, an object, a natural event, a person. Try it for 10 seconds, or 20, or 30 seconds at a time. Like any skill, you will not be able to do it for a long time at first. With practice, you will be able to extend until that is the main way you are experiencing it all. Note how you show up for yourself when doing this. Bye for now.